Nice to have you up here, Michael.
Well, thank you.
I'd like to ask you some questions and get your wisdom. First one is if you can just give us a little background on yourself.
I'm glad to do that. I go back to the early days of technology, particularly computer technology, and worked a lot in those early days with high-tech companies. After I graduated from Harvard University, I started my own consultancy called PRTM, and we worked exclusively with high technologies and finally grew to be the largest consulting firm to technology-based companies. And then in the 1990s, I got involved with product management and product strategy and working with those companies, and then all the fun began.
Who inspires you?
I'm inspired by the clients I work with. I'm inspired by the challenges they present, the companies they have, their visions, their dreams. And within that, there's selected people like Steve Jobs, I think, who inspired a lot of people. And I have to say that he's somebody that inspired me too. Yeah.
So, Michael, who's your favorite author, or what's your favorite book?
In the business world, there's two authors that I really follow. Clay Christensen, who's written some books having to do with the innovator's advantage, and I've gotten to know Clay, and his books are really excellent. And then also Jeffrey Moore, who's written several books that have to do with crossing the chasm and related topics. I find both of those authors and people who I've grown to know to be people I learn a lot from. And they're probably the only books that I think are better than my books.
Great, okay. Right, and so before you got into product management and consulting, what was your background?
Primarily in computer science and the engineering side of product development, doing a lot of work in research and development. And even in my consulting days, I helped a lot of companies to improve their product development process and their research and development process. And after doing that, they would all come back to me and say, well, now that we can develop products better and cheaper and faster, how do we figure out what products to develop and when to develop them? And that really led into the product management area.
Yeah. And from your perspective, what's the best thing about being in product management or being a product manager?
Well, today it's changed quite a bit. Today in product management, it's much more like a general management role. You really have to understand not just marketing and marketing management and products, but you have to understand the technologies, the emerging technologies, the alternative technologies that competitors may use, what those trends are, as well as the economics of a technology, economics of a product, economics of selling a product and business models. So in a way today, product managers are in many cases the general managers of tomorrow. That's where you have to learn those skills.
So what would you say, what advice could you give to a student or someone considering entering the product management field?
Good question. It's how do you perfect all those different skills? So that's the challenge. I guess the advice I would give would be to really appreciate the technology and to begin to understand the technologies you want to be involved with, whether it's engineering technologies or biotechnologies or chemical technologies or computer science technologies, and make sure you get enough of a foundation or training in those underlying technologies, because you're going to have to apply them and understand them when you're doing product management. So you can't skip that step. You have to get a good foundation in university and some of your early experience. I also recommend some product managers that they actually do a rotation or a job in the development space. That way they learn about the technology and the development, and then they make the best product managers because they've been on the other side of it before.
Okay, so you see that as being potentially more valuable than coming from the marketing and business side.
Yeah. If you come from the marketing and business side, that's good too, but you should then go out of your way to learn the product and technology side, because you need both skills. But if you come from the marketing side, I'd recommend doing a stint or a tour of duty in research and development just to get some of those skills too.
So Michael, could you summarize for me a couple of key critical reasons why a high-tech business should consider product architecture and the platform strategy?
Product platform strategy is the key to success. When I first wrote the book about 15 years ago, most companies began to adopt that. And since then we've seen successful companies have applied product platform strategy very successfully. And that enabled them to leverage the R&D development, to leverage operational things like product costs, reuse of materials, leverage their distribution channels, and then most importantly, then expand into new markets by using the product platforms they developed. The case study that I use for this, one of the best, is Apple, which created the iPod and then leveraged that into the iPhone, and then leveraged that platform into the iPad. And they've got a lot more coming in the future too that they're going to leverage their fundamental platform for. Yeah. So it makes you much more competitive. It gives you a competitive advantage that's hard to cope with from your competition. But then it also gives you the ability to grow rapidly into related markets if you're diligent enough in doing that.
So, Michael, where do you see the future of product management going and the trends in the industry?
The product management, as I was talking about, is becoming more of a general management skill. So more and more I see product managers being at the center of teams and product strategy, center of teams and product development. So it's becoming that focal point now that most companies need, because you can no longer have a separate group doing research and another one doing development, another doing manufacturing, and then a fourth group doing marketing. You need one group that pulls it all together. And most likely in most companies, it's the product management function that does that. So that means even developing more leadership skills. And so I really see the leaders of the future in technology-based companies coming out of the product management function.
Good, great. All right, well, thanks for your thoughts and wisdom today.
Oh.
It's been great talking.
You're very, very welcome. I enjoyed it. Thank you.